I'm here with Drake Hogestyn back at the
soaps.
Days of Our Lives set.
We love soaps.
We love soaps. You do love soaps. I mean, we're talking about a long time on soap operas, and you are back.
We love soaps. We love soaps.
What do you love about soaps?
We love soaps.
I mean, you're an athlete. What do you love about
You know,
soaps?
I'll tell you a short little story. When I was playing professional baseball in the Yankee organization, we would go out, we'd be on the road, you would play your game, you'd go out and have a few beers afterwards and whatever, and come back and sleep in late, and then my teammates, my roommates, would order up room service, and they would watch soap operas. I would go out and I'd run off
These big, burly guys would watch soap operas.
And I didn't. But I'd laugh. I'd give them a hard time. And interestingly enough, a lot of those players made it up to the big leagues, either in the American League or the National League. And then when they were coming out here to play the Dodgers or the Angels, they'd call me up, "Hey, Hoagie, can we come on the set?" I remember at that particular time, during that time, I was in a romance, Roman and Diana.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Remember that one?
I
And
sure
it was,
do. Those Greek remotes. And,
Yeah. And Jeannie Francis was my co-star. And here are these big baseball players, and they came into the studio and they just melted like just little kids in front of Jeannie. Oh my God, they couldn't even talk.
Wow.
And it just shows you the impact that this medium has on certain people.
It sure does, and a lot of people don't realize that, and it's important to remember that in this day and age, that all kinds of people love these shows.
Yeah, the audience has an emotional attachment for certain characters, and that's why we have so many characters.
Yes.
So we have something to choose from, and the storylines are all across the board, so a little something for everybody.
And we have so many, sometimes one actor playing so many characters, because I lost count at about 8 different identities for John, Black, Roman, Forrest, Romulus.
Right.
I can't keep track.
I think we ended up at Ryan DeMira, and then there was Father John, Mercenary John, and it goes on and on.
How do you keep all this straight in your mind?
It's interesting. My dressing room, the one that I was in for a long period of time until I left, I had written on the wall when I started as the pawn, and it was like a diagrammed sentence, and all of my storylines, where they went, who was involved, so I could keep track myself. And then when the identity change would happen, and I used to have head writers come in sometimes, and look at the wall, like, what happened at this point up here? And I said, well, it's when we kind of changed writers, and that storyline fizzled out, so maybe we can pick up something from this area. But interestingly enough, when you talk about John Black, you basically are channeling Jason Bourne. And when I read for this part in 1985, Doris Saba, the casting agent, started describing the character, and I said, wait a minute, Doris. And out of my briefcase, I pulled the Bourne identity. I said, you talking about Robert Ludlum's Jason Bourne? She goes, we can't get the name, we're taking the initials, and we're going to call him John Black. And it is the search for the identity. So those first 3 months on the show, I started on, my first air show was January 23rd, 1986. Foolproof story, working with Dedra. The audience wanted to see the character of Roman back. That wasn't the way it was described to me. They just said, we're going to go from February sweeps to May sweeps, and that's the block of time for the contract. And God willing, the audience was on board, and they wanted to see a little bit more of this character. And 23 years to the day, January 23rd, 2009 was my last air show until now. Yeah. We love soaps.
Yes, and you are back. Now, John, last time we saw John, he was recovering in a hospital room. He was wheeling out. Oh, I love it when you said that. I can't believe I heard you say that in person. Say it again.
Nah, come on. That's just, that came out of the moment.
I love it. I love that. Okay. It's been 25 years of me hearing that.
Got to keep the eyebrow down, too. Keep the eyebrow down.
So John Black is back. Is he still in a wheelchair? Is he still recovering? What's he been doing the last 2 years?
A grueling rehab in Switzerland, touch and go.
That's where people go to rehab, Switzerland?
Touch and go. Well, actually, it was a clinic just outside Lausanne. It was the only one in the world that could cure this evil toxin that was injected into my spine by the evil psychiatrist. And so for the last 2.5 years, it was touch and go. And was basically a semi-quadriplegic state. But he comes back into Salem at the very tail end of that recovery process, only to meet another foe. An event that spins out of control. Okay. And people have been waiting for him to get back into America. And as soon as he lands, we're off and running on a new storyline. It's topical. It's torn out of the front page of the headline news. It's something people can relate to. That's what's so great about Marlene McPherson and Daryl Ray Thomas. They've written for us before. They know the characters, they know the fabric of the show, and they're bringing character-driven stories. And what I mean by that is, you can't stop turning the pages in your script. This morning I walked in, 2 scripts are underneath my door, pick them up, sit at my desk, and just start thumbing through not only my scenes, but the other scenes in the rest of the show, because they're all page turners. So we're looking forward to what's going to happen. September 26th is technically the day that we have the Days 2.0. We're reinvigorating the show, re-energizing it, bringing back a lot of fan favorites, which I'm sure you will be interviewing.
That's right. So Deidre, Christy,
Right.
Patrick, Matt, they're all back, all your friends.
Yeah,
all your
it was
buddies.
the first day I walked in here. It took 3 hours from my car to the dressing room. And first of all, you go through the midway, and there's the cameraman, and we all start laughing and scratching and doing the guy stuff. And then came in through between Studio 2 and 4, and out of the studio comes Christy, and comes Patrick, and comes Matt, and it's like ah! And then we go in the makeup room, and it's all over once you walk in there. I mean, that's Grand Central. And by the time I got back to my dressing room, which is the same one I left, which was like wow, I sat there and went, that 2.5 years seemed like 2.5 decades, or was it 2.5 days? It was like the weirdest feeling to be back home again.
Yeah.
In such a good way. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you look great, Drake, I gotta say.
Well, thank you.
Look
I mean, if you would have got me 10 minutes earlier, you would have got me in the shower. But I just finished today, and
next time we'll do that.
I just finished, and
okay.
I go in my dressing room and I peel off my stuff and hang it all up because I'm so anal about wardrobe. And then I jump in the shower and get all cleaned up, and then they knock on the door. I said, well, I should have my makeup on, and look more like John Black,
We'll talk to PR about the shower interview next time. But it's great to see you. I'm so glad you're back on the show, and I really look forward to it. John Black has his memory back now.
John Black's got his
what it's
memory
worth.
back, and he's off. He's ready to give everybody both barrels right now.
All right, we look forward to that. Hey, thank you so much.
You bet.
It's great
See ya.
to see you.
Good to see
It's
you.
really great.
Hi, this is John with WeLoveSoapsTV.net, and I am here with Deidre Hall and Drake Hogestyn at the Days of Our Lives fan event. How are you guys doing?
Only perfect.
We are wonderful. Thank you, John.
Thank you so much for talking with us. So, Deidre, I've got to ask you, I think you're the only person here that's not only had one doll made of her likeness, but you've actually got 2.
Oh, we're going there, huh?
I think it's a great place to go. I think it's fantastic.
No, but remember this. No, it'll be fine. Go ahead and do it. Yes, I have an action figure in my likeness, and I have the Marlena doll. Yes. Next.
So, Drake, I'm sorry, I don't know if you've got any dolls made after you yet, but
Any dolls that?
It's no great honor.
Well, I do have a couple of my daughter's dolls, but we'll talk about that on another show, I guess.
So you guys have worked together for quite a while, and I'm curious, at this point, is there anything that the other might be surprised to know about you that they don't already know?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No. You can't help but work so many years together and know each other so well and have any real surprises. So I think that's why the audience resonates with them, because that comes across on camera too. And they are a married couple.
And we're just not that interesting.
Yeah, well, now would you
No,
say?
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that.
We complete each other's thoughts.
There we go.
So.
Well, and if you look at everything that you guys have been through and what you're going through now, it seems like there's no shortage of real interesting stories for you guys.
Yep, it is. And what's lovely, I was saying earlier, what's lovely about working with Daryl and Marlene's scenes is that they're so complete in themselves and so full of history and so full of reality that once we pick up the words, we can throw that away and really play with the scene.
Yeah, they're very respectful of the audience and the history of the show and the audience's knowledge of what the characters have been through. So therefore, the storylines that we can do right now are character driven, and whatever the plots are, it's like, yeah, the character would react that way in the storyline. It's not like a plot driven storyline where the audience goes, well, she would never do that. Well, she just would never do that. And that's when you lose the audience. Right now, the audience is on board because, yeah, she would do that in the storyline we're playing.
He would do that.
Yep.
He would.
Yeah, and that's the one thing with your individual characters as well as you as a couple. No matter what curveballs get thrown your way, there's always that connection with, yeah, I know what Marlena would do and I know what John would do.
Right. You want to stay true to that. And that's what thrills the audience most is over my years that I've been there, and we had some writers that would reinvent the character or change the history, and the audience is no, that did not happen.
Yes.
And they know the exact day that this did happen and what he said, and it's like, you don't mess with them. And that's what Marlene and Daryl are doing. They're being very respectful of that audience that stayed with the show for 45 years. And right now they want to take them back to that warm, fuzzy place that they knew and they loved, and the emotional attachments they have with the audience. So they're basically showing how John and Marlena got to where they were, and we're having fun going there too.
We are.
And that's a great point for you to make, because your character has been so many different people over time, and yet still who you are and who you guys are as a couple is always there at the top.
Yeah, I'll get off track here for a second. I flew into New York when we did the Today Show on our relaunch.
Right.
And the flight attendant came up and said, oh my God, I've watched your show forever and I know all about your character. No, it was really great. She goes, I know all about your character being, Jason Bourne from Robert Ludlum's book. And I'm like, wow. And the guy next to me says, interesting, I couldn't help but overhear that. You know about Jason Bourne? And I look at him and I kind of recognize him, and it was Jeremy Renner. And he's going into New York to be the new Jason Bourne on the Bourne Legacy. So we had a very interesting talk. But it's like, yes, she knows the character of John Black better than he knows himself. In this particular storyline, she's more trusting of him than he is of himself. And he listens to her, and he feeds off her, and he holds on to her. That's what couples need to do in this day and age.
And where are you hoping that they keep bringing you guys?
Well, we like being together, and I think that's replenishing and reassuring for the audience. And it's also a comfort. When there are hard times out there, you want to see families pull together and take care of each other, and that's what we're doing in every storyline we have.
This economic hard times that we're going through. We're going through them on the show right now, so we're taking a page out of the front page of the newspapers and we're playing it out. And what we are establishing is that things are going to get really, really rough, but if you have each other, you can get through this. But just like two are stronger than one, and that's the point we want to get across on our show right now. And I think it's resonating with the audience.
Yeah, and with Days being about family and using family for strength, I totally see that, and I can see a lot of people wanting to hang on to that. So we're looking forward to where you guys are going to go and where the show's going to go.
We are.
Great.
Yeah, it's a surprise. We never know. We get the scripts pushed underneath our dressing room door, and we come in the morning, we pick it up, and we sit down, and we're guessing along with everybody else. They don't tip their hand anymore about where your story's going, so we're surprised like everybody else.
Full of surprises.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as we look to the surprises for the future, we'll wrap this up, and thank you guys so much for talking with us. We really appreciate it. It's a pleasure meeting you, and hope you have a great rest of the day.
I want to give you my book before we get...
Oh, sure, yeah.
Hot off the press, Deidre Hall's How Does She Do It? It's a beauty book.
Oh, fantastic.
Amazon.com, and this is your copy, so enjoy and have it.
Thank you so much.
You too will know, Amazon.com or DeidreHall.com. 40 years behind the camera, you too can do it. How does she do it? Buy it and find out.
That you're good. You are good.
That was great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, John. Good to see you.
This is Damon L. Jacobs. I'm here at the Days of Our Lives fan event at the Mohegan Sun here in Connecticut. Right? Mohegan Sun. Go Mohegan Sun. With James Reynolds and Drake Hogestyn.
Oh, man.
So, you two have had a full day, lots of fans. What has it been? You've done events like this before, but what was this fan event like for you compared to others?
Well, it was wonderful. For one thing, I hadn't been here, so at the Mohegan Sun, so that begins. When we go to a different part of the country, it's just you see how this show is received by people everywhere, and how universal.
Very passionate here.
Oh, they're very passionate. Yeah. They're very passionate. And the appeal of the show is so universal and so wonderful, and the people are so welcoming and warm. It was just fantastic.
Wow. How about for you, sir?
Years ago we did a show at Hartford at the Civic Center where the Whalers played. We put over 15,000 in the stands there, and here I think we had 15,001.
It looked like amazing. It from what I could see.
Yeah, and most of them were delicious women, so it all worked for me.
All right, okay. Now, let's talk about what these delicious women are going to get to see over the next few months in Salem. I know there's a lot coming up, and I'm going to start with you, because we know that Kristen is on her way back to town.
Boy, I think Kristen DeMira rolls in this week, actually, on the show. And the same actress, Eileen Davidson, a very close personal friend of mine, and she comes in and stirs things up right away. She and Marlena are going at it. There's another person involved. And when I go back, it gets very volatile with myself and very close family members, so stay tuned.
Now, when you say family members, you gotta be specific, because at one time or another, you've been related to pretty much everybody in Salem.
Well, I know.
The Alamanes, the Bradys, the Demaras. I can't keep track of who you're not related to.
Well,
at this
that's a fact, and I can't tip stories, so I just have to say that it's going to be a family member.
Well, I will say that at least on screen recently was acknowledged that John Black is a Demera. They weren't talking about it for a while. Now they're talking about it again.
Oh, really? Tell me about it.
You tell me about it.
No, you tell me about it.
He's Stefano's half brother.
Right, that's a fact.
Okay.
His name's Ryan Demera, but have they actually talked about it on camera?
From what we're seeing on the air, it was talked about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Really?
He talked with Marlena about going after the Demera heritage.
Claiming
his own.
Oh, that
So
part of the
that's
story.
that's where
but
we're at.
okay, that I understand that, and I was really kind of embracing that.
Yeah.
But when that set of writers left.
Yes,
And,
we know.
and a new writer came in. And so that part of the storyline went bye-bye. See how it works?
Okay. Well, now, Mr. Carver.
Yes, given that.
Oh, give it all that.
Thank you
now,
very
now
much.
you are
Thank you
in-law.
very,
You
very
are
much.
an in-law of the Demera clan.
I am an
Still
in-law
trying
of
to
the
do
Demera
that.
clan. That's true. Yeah, we are all seemingly in Salem in one way or another related to each other. Yes, I'm a Demera in-law.
Well, I have to say, it's been wonderful to see you on air so much recently, though I didn't like the reason, because Lexi's, I love Lexi and I love Renee, but to see you after 31 years get to do some real great scenes was a real reward for us viewers.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. It was very much a bittersweet thing, because as an actor you love to embrace those moments, but as a person and watching a friend leave and a character that I know the audience loves have to go as well, that's always difficult. It's always hard.
Now, of course, it was very sad, but this also opens up Abe to some new storyline
The work that
opportunities.
accompanied that, though, was outstanding.
Wasn't
And
it?
it really was. And when the cast and crew applaud the work, and they've seen it all, it just tells you something.
Absolutely, and you played it so reserved. You didn't go full out soap opera drama. You played it so
they leave
dignified,
that to me.
so graceful. All right. I mean, there was a grace, there was a dignity to you.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I think it called for that, and I think both to pay honor to Renee and to the character. It's a very good writing, and everybody embraced that story. The directors really embraced it and supported it throughout, and everyone who was in it. I mean, one of the scenes I get so much comment was with this guy.
Yeah.
And that final goodbye. And
Now,
I thank you for that.
this does open Abe up to some new storyline opportunities.
There are some possibilities out there.
Now, last year, 2 years ago, when Maggie lost Mickey, suddenly she found herself orbiting in Victor's universe.
Yep.
This is just me as a viewer, and you guys know I've been seeing the show, but I couldn't help but think, it's like, what if Abe and Kate kind of started hanging out? I think Kate could loosen him up a little bit.
Well, I guess
don't
she's
you think?
divorced, isn't she?
On divorce or on the skids or whatever, but I think
don't
Abe
know.
needs some
Well,
loosening
we're
up,
on-
and she
I
needs
think,
somebody who's solid.
Well, that's a thought. I mean, there are a lot of thoughts out there and a lot of ideas. I think you're going to start to see something start to bubble here pretty soon.
What would you like to see for Abe?
But I'm going to be quiet about it. I think there's some. I'm going to let things take its course. I have my thoughts in what I'd like to see, but I think you are going to see some things start to bubble.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a little exercise because you two have known each other for so long.
Yeah.
You've been working together on and off since '86. Drake, I'd like you to say 5 words that describe James. 5 words that describe our good friend here.
5 words?
5 words.
It's hard to do. Tough, sincere, dedicated, steadfast, loyal.
Good list. All right, for you, 5 words for Drake.
I'd almost use the same, but I think I'd have to add integrity and forthrightness to that. Mm-hmm. But the same list, literally. Yeah.
You guys find that knowing each other, that you're still learning from each other, that it's still that
It's
the
a
work is
process.
still.
The whole acting, it's an exploration. You're never going to... James Durning said something. He got a Lifetime Achievement Award, and he was up on the stage, and he's a little older now, and he's not quite as sharp with his words, but he said, you know what? I just started to think that in the last performance here that by God, I'm just starting to get it. And he was so sincere when he said that, it just really because we think that all the time. We're always looking, and as you get older, you're changing also as your presentation changes. And to study your friends around you and to steal from them and to learn from them just enriches everybody.
Yeah.
How about for you? After 31 years, what still brings energy? What still brings challenge
what brings
for you?
energy for me, and I keep tagging on what Drake says, but he's so perceptive about this, I think, because the journey of life for all of us is to continuing to learn. But I think the thing that is always bottom line for me is I have been so fortunate in my life to do what I love to do for a living. And it's challenging at times, and at times you're upset as you are in any job. But I get to do what brings me joy in order to make a living, and that's priceless. It's priceless.
Yeah, it's. I'll add to that in just a second. It's kind of funny. It's. I was off the show for a couple of years, so I had the opportunity to explore other things that I thought I had passion about. And as I'm in the middle of pursuing some of these things, I said, I don't like this. I don't have any passion. I don't have any passion for this. I'm an actor.
What were you trying?
Oh, just different things I just wanted to do. Just real estate, construction. I'm talking about buying and selling and I bought an apartment building, and I mean investments and things like that. And stockbroker's license, stuff that handling my own finances, which I am attached to, but I realized, I do this for a living. It's like, that's not what I want to do. And then when it wasn't until I went back into writing again in the creative process, that's when you realize that this is what I do. And I think that was the first time that I really embraced my whole existence as an actor. I said, this is what I do. Tristan Rogers and I, we put a little thing together and went out in the desert with a camera, shot some stuff through the wire, and it was like, what a process that was, and really made me love it even more. And it was like, it was shot like a guerrilla shoot, but it was just so fascinating and just made me appreciate the business all over again.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Before we go, we're going to have to go in a minute here at Mohegan Sun, but is there anything, I know you do a lot of charity work, I know you support a lot of organizations, is there any charity you want us to talk about? Or
I do. Well, I've been very honored to be the spokesperson for the Department of Veterans Affairs for hospitalized vets for now a number of years, and I don't continue literally in that position, but helping the Department of Veterans Affairs a lot, and that's something I'm very, very passionate about. I've always felt that care for our veterans goes beyond politics and beyond philosophy and ideology. These are our sons and our daughters, and we should make sure that they are cared for throughout, and that includes giving them jobs as well as helping care for any medical care.
And mental health. I'm a mental health professional.
That's all
that's
part of
the
medical care that we should embrace that. Absolutely. You're so right.
Yeah.
Mental health is so key.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. I hope to see you gambling tonight.
Good.
I hope to catch up with you.
Absolutely. Yes, you, and I was going to shake my friend's hand.
You shake his hand. You get to see him all day.